Have you ever noticed that when you're around certain people, you start to feel a certain way, like where you shrink yourself, you doubt yourself, you make yourself small, you don't let yourself dream big? You know those people I'm talking about. I get this question asked, I can be abundant and I can have an abundant mindset and I can have an abundant reality, but what if people out there come into my life and they remind me of things or they tell me things that make me question myself and make me doubt myself and make me rethink what my abundance mindset really is? Because what if what they're saying is true? This is where it's so important to recognize abundance and scarcity are both contagious. When we're connecting with people, when we're only dreaming at a specific level, we can't go any higher than that because that possibility just doesn't exist. You're gonna keep yourself small just to fit in. And honestly, why wouldn't you if you want a connection, if you want to feel belonged, if you want to feel like a part of something? This is where it's so important to intentionally choose the people that we spend our time around by noticing how they influence our state of being, our mood, and also our identity and how our relationship is with abundance and with scarcity. If you notice some people around you who are unsupportive of something that you're doing, maybe they don't even say it in an explicit way, but implicitly underneath their tonality of the words that are coming out of their mouth, you can sense it. When you're around those people, notice how you feel, and notice how you feel about your own potential. Because I can share with you my experience when I'm around these people who are not supportive. I feel like I have to either prove myself that I am worthy, or I shrink myself down to their level, which is like, yeah, you're right, it's not worth dreaming bigger. Look at the reality of things. This is not a safe path at all. It just doesn't make sense logically. Whatever reasons they've got to keep you small, you start to buy into their reasons as well. Now, when we recognize that a scarcity mindset is contagious, it also goes the opposite way, that an abundance mindset is also contagious. But why would we want to choose abundance mindset over scarcity when all of our social circle is in a scarcity mindset? We're going to lose our social circle if we start to get into an abundance mindset. This is where it's really important to look at something that in NLP it's called secondary gains. And when it comes to beliefs and belief systems, and ultimately you could say that everything, every value that we hold, every thought that we have, anything that we feel emotionally resonant about is a belief, because at some point you didn't hold that belief, and then at some point through experience you gained that belief. So even though some of these things are core beliefs and they feel like they can never be questioned, they're still beliefs at the end of the day. Self-awareness allows us to reflect on how other people's influence is affecting us. And we can start to see how their beliefs are being absorbed by us without us even realizing it. One thing that I feel like people haven't considered really is that a lot of the times these people who have the scarcity mindset, they have a limited mindset, they have focus on limitations, they have focus on negativity, they have focus on how to keep yourself small, they have focus on how to play the safe route, don't take any risks. Those people, they're not actually in their natural state. This isn't a natural state. And by natural, I mean something that is helpful for our survival. Now, in one way, it might be helpful for survival if holding a scarcity mindset is essential for you to develop connections with people around you because you don't have any other social connections. This is where I'm talking about secondary gains. When we have these secondary sort of associations with the reasons why we're holding certain beliefs, we cannot let go of these beliefs, however unnatural they might be, because they are serving a survival instinct purpose. And this survival instinct is something that's so essential, our unconscious will not let us drop it because it knows that it is a need for survival. And so it won't let us drop this scarcity mindset until we find a social connection where we can feel connected and we don't have to hold a scarcity mindset to be able to hold social connections. Only then, and only then, will your unconscious let you transform this scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. How is the abundant state of mind our natural state of mind? And by natural, I mean helpful for our survival. Yes, we went into how paradoxically even holding the opposite might be essential for our survival if it's serving a secondary purpose, but not the primary purpose. But the primary purpose of the abundance mindset being a survival instinct. How is it a natural state? How is it so essential for our survival to have an abundance mindset? What I want you to understand is that abundance doesn't mean that you ignore or deny a certain part of reality. In fact, most people think that changing your belief and changing your mind means leaving that old reality behind and now I'm in this new reality. Yes, in one way it is like that. But at the same time, when we're coming from a holistic point of view, when we're shifting into an abundance mindset, what we're doing is, instead of our focus being on this very limited thing, which is a part of reality, notice how I'm not saying that it's not part of a reality and it's not true. I'm not saying that. It is a part of reality, but it is a very small part of reality. What the abundance mindset allows us to do is to zoom out and see how there is a bigger picture that we're missing. And unfortunately, while you're in the scarcity mindset, it blinds you to seeing the abundance that already exists around you. You literally have blind spots. It's almost like wearing glasses that have those, those old style, like those sunnies. Sometimes the sunnies have, like, on the outside of it, they have all these blockers. It's almost like that. Like, your vision becomes so narrow that you don't even see all the abundance that exists all around you. And that's what belief change is about when you're shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Now, it's a natural state because for our survival, we need to have an expanded point of view. We're not always going to be faced in the same situation. We're not always going to have the same interactions. We do need a little bit of predictability in our life. And so we need to have patterns that we know work a specific way. This is what the scarcity mindset tells you, like, just look at reality. But when you zoom out and you look at it from the abundance mindset, when you want to explore new territories, when you want to learn new patterns and come and have different interactions with reality, you are going to have to allow for a different way of being. You know how easy it is when you are getting caught up in your friends' stories, the same friends I'm talking about that keep you small? You know how easy it is to get caught up in their stories when you're around them? You know how easy you start to play small, shrink yourself, start to doubt yourself, how quickly you start to question what you even believe about yourself when you're in their company, when you're in their presence? That's how easy it can be. So understand that your environment plays a critical role in your progress, and the people that you surround yourself with really help you to anchor that abundance reality in. When you're trying to make change, don't just focus on yourself and your own progress, because it's more of a relationship with reality. So to allow yourself to progress in that path, you have to surround yourself with people who are also in that same reality. So people who are keeping you small, keeping you questioning, keeping you doubtful, don't allow them in your life. Maybe spend less time with them, because the fact is we can't really control how influenced we get by people, the effect that other people are having on you and your mental state. And you've got mirror neurons going on here. They've got mirror neurons and they're feeling really, really like excited and elated. You're naturally going to start feeling really excited and elated. And if they're feeling really down and depressed and they're worried about the world and everything's gone bad, you're going to enter into their space and you're going to be like, yeah, this is really dark and deep and just depressing. So that influence is true. It's not something we need to deny. It's not something we need to reject and say, well, I'm going to be superhuman and I'm going to reject the influence and I don't need anybody else's validation. Come on, let's live... Let's notice the patterns in reality. We get influenced by other people. Our biology is made to mirror. This has been a survival instinct for us to learn as a child. We need to be able to mimic our parents and our environment so that we know what's the most appropriate way to react and be in a relationship with our environment. Unfortunately, some of these things that we learn end up being unhelpful, that we have to unlearn later in life, but a lot of those ones, these survival instincts, stayed along for a reason. So when you want to focus on your progress, think about the people that you're surrounding yourself with. How do they make you feel? And also, I think it's really important to recognize, what kind of effect do you have on people? What do you think? Because I think that is also a responsibility that I didn't take seriously until I started coming into my role as a coach and understanding that I do have an influence on the people around me in my life, online, social media, everywhere. And it is my responsibility responsibility how I want that influence to be. Do I want people to feel inspired after spending time with me? Do I want people to feel motivated after spending time with me, maybe watching my content or just being around me? Maybe I want people to feel connected and a sense of belonging. And so when we start doing these self-reflection exercises, we start to consciously create our own experience instead of being at the effect of it. And this is what self-mastery and self-empowerment is all about. It's not about denying the reality. Most of the time, it's literally just about zooming out, seeing all the other possibilities that you haven't acknowledged yet, that you've had a blind spot to, and understand that you have the option to see reality from that perspective.